Okie dokie. So we're at 10,000 kilometers across. Okay, so let's start over. Brown is the crust of the Earth. The Earth, the dirt. Um, it is up to 35 kilometers. And we can drill, I think, 100 miles down. So we can go past the crust and enter the uppermost mantle, which is 60 kilometers down. So brown, you can barely see it. It's like the peel of the skin of an onion on an onion is how much the crust is on the Earth. The Earth is basically a gummy ball frozen over at the very outer shell. Um, and then you have gold, which you can't even barely see, is the upper mantle up to 660 kilometers. Blue, the gold is here. Blue, this part here, is the asthenosphere, 100 to 200 kilometers. Gray, I'm sorry, upper mantle is here, gold, 660 kilometers. Blue is the asthenosphere. Um, Gray, where's blue? Oh, I need to fix this, dude. Um, is the asthenosphere. Gray is the mantle. So here, down to this depth here is the mantle, where it's like the gummy, what do you call it? The lava. And then light green is the outer core, all the way to here. And then dark green is the inner core. So the inner core would be this much. Double this, because this is like from the outer edge to the center of the Earth, so double this. The inner core is about the size of the moon. 6,360 kilometers, because the Earth is about 13,000 kilometers in diameter, I think. Anyways, so there's the moon next to Kauai, Hawaii, Lake Titicaca, the Great Salt Lake, the Salt Flats, Colorado on top of the moon. So the moon's about as big as America, basically. Mercury there. So let's go to 100,000 kilometers, man. Now we're getting into planetary sizes. So let's look at the moon. Where's the moon? There's the moon right there, and there's the Earth. See, the moon's about as big as America. Moon, Earth. There's Mercury, moon next to Mercury, which we saw before. Mercury next to Mars, moon next to Mars, Mars next to the Earth. Mars is a lot smaller than the Earth. Earth and Venus are about exactly the same size. Venus is a little bit smaller. Your typical white dwarf star is a little bit larger than the Earth. The Earth's upper mantle, here's the Earth compared to all the mantles, right? Here's the Earth, Earth's upper mantle. So the Earth becomes jelly pretty soon, pretty small. Jelly part of Earth is about as big as the Earth part of Earth. It's like frosting on the cake, basically. All the water in the atmosphere and the crust. Doesn't take that much. And then the mantle, outer core, inner core. Inner core is about not so much smaller than the moon, as you can see. And the outer core is bigger than the moon. There is Uranus, by the way, one of the gaseous planets, much larger than the Earth. And then you have all these other different moons of Jupiter. For example, Ganymede. Here's Callisto, second D star. So it's a small, I don't know what that means. I'm going to have to research that a little bit. Maybe we're talking about a brown dwarf. Brown dwarfs are usually about as big as the Earth. But Ganymede, Callisto, Io, Europa, Triton, Titania, Titan, all these, Jupiterian moons are about the size of our moon. Our moon's smaller than Ganymede. Mercury is actually smaller than Ganymede. Mercury's it's smaller than Callisto. Our moon is smaller than Callisto and Io. But our moon is by far the largest moon in comparison to the size of its host planet, because you have to remember that, Jupiter is huge. So anyways, these are planets. We got planets revolving around planets, basically. Aliens living on there. So okay, so 100,000 kilometers is the largest ELF, extremely low frequency radio communication with submarines. The largest go up to 100,000 kilometers. So maybe that's how we could communicate with, and it's the smallest subhertz, and those waves go all the way to infinity. Natural and man-made EM waves, millihertz, microhertz, nanohertz, from Earth to the ionosphere, sun, planets, etc., on and on and on. And I guess that's how we communicated with those astronauts when they were on the moon. So let's go smaller. 100,000 kilometers. I'm sorry, 1,000,000 kilometers. So that's 100,000 kilometers. Now we're up to 1,000,000 kilometers across. Now remember the Earth is here? Well, let's do 10 times smaller. Here's the Earth, 10 times smaller. But look, the Earth has a halo around it. Because the sun is off in this direction, right? But the Earth is tilted by like 30 degrees. That's why you can see the halo of the Earth. Now there's this big donut around the Earth, this big torus around the Earth. Because the Earth spins around, it has an iron core. And that spinning of the iron core creates a magnetic field which shoots all of the magnetosphere up, curves around, out the North Pole, curves around, sucks into the South Pole, up, down, like that, circulating. And it circulates, but the solar wind comes from the sun and it pushes it this way. And you know, the magnetosphere, not just the plasma, I guess you have the plasmasphere goes like this, and then you have the magnetosphere. There's lots of different levels to the magnetosphere of the Earth. Just like you have levels of the atmosphere, levels of the ocean. So the plasmasphere goes out this far, magnetosphere goes out this far. And the magnetosphere goes out all the way like this big egg that the Earth is inside. And it goes like this, but behind the sun, it gets shot way out flat because the solar wind, the light of the sun, pushes it out. So kind of like you could picture the Earth like flying through space, and the direction it's flying to is the sun, sucking it in from the gravity as it spins around and around and around. Okay, so that's how that works. And there's the Earth. So here's the moon next to the Earth. Here's Mercury, Mars, Venus, Neptune, Uranus compared to the Earth. And here's Jupiter. So there's Jupiter compared to the Earth. Jupiter compared to the Earth is about the size of the moon compared to the first Death Star, so to speak. Or compared to the red blood cell and the DNA chromosome, so to speak. Okay? A lot bigger, but not totally bigger. And here that little white thing is a white dwarf. That's how big the sun's going to be when she finally dies. Or he finally dies, whatever you want to call it. About the size of the Earth. Here's the Earth here. Now if you want to know how big the Earth, the distance of the Earth to the moon, well, it's 398,000 kilometers. And it's about this distance. There's the size of the Earth. That little dot is the size, an accurate rendition of the size of the moon. And that's how far away the moon is from the Earth. Seems like a long ways, doesn't it? But you know, once you escape the gravitational field of the Earth, you just turn on your rockets and you can just, momentum can carry you out because there's no wind to stop you. And then 4 days later, they arrived on the moon, or they slingshot around the moon and came back to the Earth, as in the case of Apollo 13. So that's how far away the moon is from the Earth. And here is Saturn compared to Jupiter. Saturn and Jupiter are kind of like sister stars or sister planets because they're about the same size, just as Neptune is the sister to Uranus and the Earth is the sister to Venus, as you can see here. Now here's a typical brown dwarf star. Just an artist's rendition. You can't see pictures of them because they're dark and they're far away. But they're about the size of Jupiter. Okay. Brown dwarf star is larger than a white dwarf star. Brown dwarf stars are, you know, larger suns than our sun. The fate of those. So let's go out to 10 million kilometers. Dun, dun, dun. Now we're looking at stars. There's the size of Saturn. There's the size of Jupiter. There's the size of a pulsar. A big pulsar. Small pulsar can be, as we saw before, the size of, say, Hawaii, I think. But there's a big pulsar. And Uranus. So those are Jupiter and Saturn and such. And there's the sun. So the sun is bigger, is about the same size bigger as Jupiter is bigger than the Earth, as you can see. Right? Jupiter, Earth, Sun, Jupiter. Okay? Coincidence? I don't know. Just kind of like how the sun's exactly 100 times farther away from the Earth than the moon is. Therefore, the moon and the sun are the exact same size in the sky. Coincidence? I think not. So anyways, pulsar. Here's an EM wave. It's about as, you know, fifth of the way across as the sun. Quite large. Okay, here's the Sirius star. We all know the Sirius star, where our friendly alien friends come from. It's a white star, and it's this much bigger than our sun. But here's Vega. Vega is even bigger than Sirius. Oh my. Stars come in all different shapes, sizes, and colors, as we can see. Vega's blue. So, now let's go to 100 million kilometers. So here's the Sun, 10 times smaller. Here's the Sirius, here's Vega. But now we have even larger suns. Pollux. Oh my god, Pollux is even bigger and a different color. And then you have Arcturus. Now here's where the smartest of the aliens, the highest, most advanced aliens in our neighborhood are from. It's a red giant star, very old star, and that's why they're so advanced, because they're old. Been around a long time. And that's how big Arcturus is compared to the Sun. So the Sun, when it grows up, becomes a red giant. It'll be as big as Arcturus, and it will take over the orbit of the Earth and burn the Earth up, as they say. I don't know, in about 4 billion years or something like this. Okay, so let's go to 1 billion. Let's go from 100 million kilometers up to 1 billion kilometers. Okay, so now the Sun is just a dot. We can't even see the Sun anymore. Okay, so let's not even bother putting it there. But Arcturus is here, and now Arcturus is here, 10 times smaller. So here's a really big, the biggest sun star in our area. Now Arcturus does have a planet revolving around it, and it's 3 times as big as Jupiter, and it's that little dot represented by a period, and that's about how far it is away from Arcturus. Okay, so it's about the similar orbit of, say, the Moon to the Earth, or the Earth to the Sun, or something like this. Here's the Sun. Oh, actually, I did include the Sun. There's the size of the Sun, and there's the Earth, and the size of the Earth, represented by a dot. So there's the Sun, there's the Earth. 146 million kilometers away from the Sun. So the Sun to the Earth is smaller than how big the Sun will be when it's a red giant. So as you can see, here's the Sun in the middle, and the Earth is going to be just within the size of the red giant phase of the Sun. So the Earth will be gobbled up. I think Mars as well, and or maybe even Mars. And then here's Pollux, Aldebaran, Rigel. Here's some other stars that are big. Okay, so let's go to 10 billion kilometers. Okay, now we're not even going to be able to see the Sun, but the Sun as a red giant. Let's see if we can see the Sun as a red giant. Yeah, here's the Sun as a red giant. Here's Arcturus. Here's Aldebaran, Rigel, Betelgeuse, Antares, VV Cephei, largest star we know of. Until recently, we just found one that's even bigger. But VG Cephei is that much bigger than the Sun as a red giant. So and it's a red giant, but there's suns that are even bigger than our Sun will ever get. Compared to our solar system, VV Cephei, and it does have a sister star, which is almost as big, is almost as big as our entire solar system, for crying out loud. Pretty crazy. And there's the Sun as a red giant as compared to our solar system. So that's basically how big the Sun will be compared to the solar system when it's a red giant. Okay, so here's our solar system all the way across if you want to look at the levels. Here's the Sun here, here's Mars, here's the asteroid belt, here's Jupiter, here's Saturn, here's Uranus. The solar system, distance and relative size between VV Cephei and its sister star that sucks mass from it. Its sister star actually sucks mass from VV Cephei. They're coming together. The dot is 30% larger than the star. The dot is 30% larger than the star, and the star is 10 times larger than the Sun. And it's 3,750 million kilometers across. Okay, so what the hell did I mean by that? So there is a dot there, right there. So I think this Sun here is sucking energy, sucking juice from this star, which is that far away. Or this little star is sucking juice from this star. I don't know, man. I confuse myself. Here's the inner solar system here. And here's our outer solar system. So here's all the little planets, and then the outer planets. Now I'm going to explain that more thoroughly in the next video because we are out of time.